Hi, and welcome to Filmmakers Compass Podcast, a show where we talk about movies and, well, more movies. I'm D-Man, joined by CP, and we have another great episode in store. A little bit different this week.
A little bit different. That is right, D-Man. How you doing?
Well, even though it's through a screen, it's pretty good to see because it's been a second. But you have some stories for us, which is going to be fun. And like I said, it's going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be like a movie-specific episode, but of course, we are talking movies. I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Well, wow. You make it sound like I have like a major announcement. Nothing that exciting. What D-Man is referring to is the fact that I just got back from Sundance Film Festival. And it was pretty cool because as a filmmaker, every filmmaker wants to go. I have never been, believe it or not, and this was the finally got my chance. So lots to talk about. It was a very eye-opening experience. But
Yeah, that sounds fun. I mean, I know you and I would probably talk about this off air anyway, because I would just be so excited to hear it. But we sort of saved the meat of the conversation for the podcast. So I'm pretty pumped.
nice.
And as always, before we jump into the conversation, we do have some shout outs. So, first up is a shout out to Ivor, who updated us on his experience going to see Blade Runner with a live orchestra, that's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. I'm so jealous.
So he said, we had a great time seeing Blade Runner with live music. Orchestra was only 11 players, 2 percussionists, 3 keyboardists, 1 sax/flute player, and the rest on electronic strings. Vangelis did the soundtrack. I forgot how future sounding the music is. The movie was the final cut of the film. I have a preference for the theatrical version. It was a perfect outing. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Now, CP, do you have a preference for the final cut or the theatrical version? Director's cut, I guess, is
Yeah, the thing I hate about Blade Runner is I think there's actually like 8 cuts in total. There was like the original theatrical. There's one that was like only released in Europe. There was the like producer's director's cut. It's insane and it's very confusing. In my opinion, my favorite cut is actually the final cut. That was the version that Ridley Scott, years later after he rose to the prominence as Ridley Scott, regained some of the rights to the film and then released what he would have considered his version of Blade Runner had he not been fired from it, which I still find wild.
Now, here's one of the things that I always forget, and that is the theatrical versus the director's cut. The main difference is narration. Which version has the narration and which one does not?
I believe the final cut is the one that has the narration. It also has the weird clips of like horses throughout the movie
Yes.
that
Okay.
like people read into with different interpretations. But yes, that's the version. That's the final cut.
We're going to have a longer discussion on director's cuts versus like what's a definitive cut, because
Hmm.
Blade Runner is definitely a movie that you can read multiple ways. But if there's different versions out there, you're like, well, what is the actual call on that? I know Blade Runner, what was it, 2049, tries to, settle that debate. But I mean, there's still just watching the original movie.
Yeah, right.
So Ivor continues, and he goes on to say, "How do you keep track of movies you've seen? Letterbox, a spreadsheet, referring to us and the podcast." So, what do you do, CP?
Well, I do the letterbox thing. I have to admit, though, I do kind of do a bad job of always faithfully updating letterbox. That's actually something I'm trying to do in 2026. So let's see. Ivor, you're on letterbox, man. Link up. We
Yeah,
can
that's something.
discuss thoughts.
I do not have a letterbox. So,
Well,
how do I
Dustin,
keep track of a lot of the movies and things that I've watched? Well, I have a viewing history on streaming, but if you go back further than that and I'm watching things on DVD or television, I just make notes in my notes app, CP. It's very rudimentary. I probably should have letterbox. I should be actually rating the movies that I see and providing some commentary for it. So most of the time I'm just making a note and then I have to go dig through my notes and find it somewhere. So not the most organized. That
not the
shouldn't
most organized.
that shouldn't surprise you though about me. That
No,
should be.
not in any way. Known you for a long time.
Next up on our shoutouts list is actually Eric Drucker, at Eric Drucker88 on Instagram. He said, sorry, Drucker, we know it's you. But for everybody else that would like to follow Drucker, that's his handle. He did say, I did really enjoy the scene in episode 8 when the ship goes into hyperspace and everything is eerily quiet. I remember theaters having signs all over saying the movie isn't malfunctioning. It's supposed to be like that. That was a pretty epic moment, at least I thought. But I don't know how much that was Kathleen Kennedy, her or Ryan Johnson. What he's referring to is our discussion last week about Kathleen Kennedy stepping down from Lucasfilm. Now, CP, I believe I think I showed you that scene. Did I?
I think so. I
That's
think
where
so.
they hyperspace a ship into a star destroyer, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everybody lost their minds because two things happened. One, the sound
Space Leia.
design,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
no, the sound design on this scene was absolutely stunning, and it's a visual treat to watch it happen. But a lot of people felt that it breaks Star Wars canon because if all you had to do was destroy Star Destroyers was just light speed ships into it, everybody was like, ah,
We
why
would
aren't
have
we
taken
just
them
going
all out.
around?
Yeah.
Yeah, why aren't we just going around and light speeding ships into each other? Like that kind of sucks. So anyway, I kind of agree with Drucker. Visually and the experience of it was fantastic. The theater was like in awe, and it literally goes into like this silence, almost like for you, a reference point would be like in Attack of the Clones when Django drops that detonator.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
almost like this prolonged silence and then this massive like
Yeah.
so it's pretty cool. It works really well. The only thing is it's just like a lot of things in The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, everybody was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Are you gonna respect the fandom and the canon? Come on.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So Drucker does go on to say, thanks for the kind words regarding my Broncos. Sucks they wasted a golden Super Bowl opportunity, but there's always next year, question mark. Here's the thing, Drucker. Their starting quarterback got hurt and was done for the rest of the year. I don't know if I would call that wasting an opportunity so much as it was that, what was his name, CP? Stidham?
Yeah.
I mean, he got him 7 points, and for what it's worth, they were totally in that game and could have won it. So I don't know. To me, I don't know if I wouldn't say they wasted it, but I think he did his best. It's a shame that the quarterback got hurt, a bad beat. So Drucker does go on to say, haven't seen the last two avatars yet. I'm taking the wait and see approach for Star Wars. We will see how things go. I did love some of what she did, Kathleen Kennedy, when she was in charge, and/or the Star Wars rides land and parts of Mandalorian Ahsoka. So I actually agree with you on that, Drucker. Well done, because by agreeing with you, it implies that you do not agree with CP. And that I love.
Wow. Look at this guy.
Well,
Hey, looking for new podcast co-host friends.
on that note, here's where everybody agrees with CP. So at Antonio Torres, what up, Anthony? Said, throw her career down the toilet along with Ryan Johnson. Wow, that's a Last Jedi specific. Let's just never mention their names again. So we're gonna have to read some more comments. So my apologies, Anthony. But I wanted to at least acknowledge he said throw her career down the drain. So say what you will after she took over Lucasfilm once it was purchased by Disney and she was in charge of Star Wars. So Disney Star Wars. Say what you will. But Kathleen Kennedy has actually had a pretty prolific career. She was a producer on Poltergeist, E.T., Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, Goonies, Back to the Future trilogy, Young Sherlock Holmes. I mean, honestly, a lot of Spielberg movies. Color Purple, Empire of the Sun, Jurassic Park, um, Hook, Schindler's
Okay, okay, okay,
List.
okay, okay. Let me just cut you off there. Let me just cut you
This
off
is
there.
an
No, 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 no.
insane
That's
career.
that's 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 kind of BS. And my point is,
Ponyo?
Christopher McCurry has an incredible filmography when we look at the movies that he has done as a director and a screenwriter and a producer, right? He's done like 9 box office, like incredibly successful movies,
Wait,
but
who?
they're all with Tom Cruise, Christopher McCurry.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So my point is, obviously Kathleen Kennedy is successful. She is part of a creative duo that involves Steven Spielberg.
All right. I mean, but that's got to be
Yeah,
worth
so at
something.
least we need to give her credit for being like being smart enough to hitch yourself to the winning horse.
That's half of any career. Like, go play with Tom Brady. I don't know. And Bill Belichick win a Super Bowl. Like,
I
I don't
know,
know.
but what I'm saying is that didn't mean that she was the right choice to run
I mean, maybe
Lucasfilm.
not.
Now, if her and Steven Spielberg were running Lucasfilm, I would have been like, that's a match made in heaven. Good job. Keep the success alive.
All right, CP, I need you to decipher this shout out. At Mitchell.berry on Instagram said, wait, really? There was no communication between the writers between those three movies? That makes no sense. Now, is that sarcasm or is this person a Disney Star Wars trilogy fan?
I don't know.
Is it the way I read it? I mean,
I think it's just the way you read it.
at Mitchell Berry, let us know. Is that total sarcasm or are you dead serious? Because I'm pretty sure those writers did not talk. So, and
Yeah.
that's not sarcasm. So, and then finally, at the Ballistic Boy on Instagram, replying to CP, said, nailed it. She was the chosen one to bring balance to the force and left it in darkness. Or
Also,
not leave it in darkness. I apologize. I've read that wrong. But yes,
nice,
that's a
nice
great comment.
way to pull a solid Obi-Wan quote from the prequel trilogy.
I love that. That was awesome. Thank you for that comment. And then finally, CP, just a couple of birthday shout outs, and then we'll head into our discussion about Sundance Film Festival. But happy birthday to Grant Carlisle. Happy birthday to Evan Valley and Ryan Weinzettel. So
Yay!
happy birthday, everybody.
Happy birthday!
All right. Well, I'm going to throw it over to you, CP. Go
Ooh.
ahead and lead us into this discussion because I'm pretty excited to hear what your initial thoughts were. And I don't know, just see why Sundance gets the reputation it does.
Well, okay. I mean, first of all, Sundance has been around for 40 something years, right? This was a pet project of Robert Redford in I think it was 81, 82, the first time they did Sundance. And he wanted to move away from the commercial and create a space for true independent cinema to shine
Okay.
by allowing people to, you know, display their films at the Sundance Film Festival where they wouldn't have really had an opportunity because of the success and the prestige and the reputation of the films coming out of Sundance. I think it really propelled indie cinema, and I think it really propelled the film festival movement throughout the United States and the world. Unfortunately, I think to some extent we almost reached a peak where now there's so many film festivals that I think in some ways it's kind of diminished the quality of all of them.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, but let's talk about Sundance. So, there's a lot of really interesting things. So, the first thing we need to remember is this: this is actually the last time Sundance Film Festival is going to be in Park City, Utah.
What? No way.
Last year, next year, it will be at its new home in Boulder, Colorado, which
Wow. So
my
they're keeping
first,
it mountain town. They're
well,
not.
yeah, but it's not as mountainous. It's a little, I mean, Park City is a sleepy little town of 8,000 people. Boulder is a city of 100,000 people, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So very different in terms of substance and style there. The other interesting thing is when we look at Utah really owns kind of Sundance Film Festival as the major Utah film festival.
Right. Yeah.
Colorado has already a number of film festivals, most famously Telluride Film
Yeah.
Festival. It has Denver Film Festival. There's like the Vail Film Festival. So there's already like four or five kind of notable festivals there. So it's weird that Sundance is going there as well.
Hmm.
I would
Interesting.
have thought that kind of, and I think part of the reason behind the original decision to bring it to Utah was it was kind of out of the
Yeah.
familiar, right? Creating this new place. The Sundance Institute is going to remain in Boulder, Colorado for its operations and its
Salt
workshops
Lake
and
or
labs.
not Salt Lake.
Park City. Did I
Park
say
City.
Boulder?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to remain in Park City, but obviously this is a huge change because it's gone. End of an era. So next year when we all go to Sundance, it's going to be the start of something new.
It's interesting you say that because when you arrived, I mean, one of the first things I did was text you to see how it was, obviously, in the winter season, and I have a vision of what Park City looks like. And it's funny because my familiarity with Sundance Film Festival, beyond simple social media posts and a couple people's who have been fortunate enough to attend, is actually the show Entourage.
Mm.
They spend an episode in that show going to Park City, and they're basically there, I think, with their film Queens Boulevard, I think
Yeah.
is what it was. And they're trying to find distribution for this movie. And it was funny though, because watching that, it gave me a sense that a lot of big players actually attend Sundance, that this
And
is not simply just a celebration of indie filmmaking, but that there is sort of a deal making going on, and there's, networking and all these things. There's big stars that go to Sundance.
yeah, oh, and that's wild. And I mean, you definitely see them there. Some of them are the directors there showing their films. After every screening, there is an opportunity for the directors and the producers and sometimes the cast to get up and talk about it, which is one of the things that I thought was really great. You're getting to ask questions to the people who you just watched their film.
That is cool.
You also, it's one of the weird places in the world, kind of like when you're in parts of LA or parts of New York, where you see celebrities walking around.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool though.
Yeah,
You run into, I don't know if Tom Cruise is there, but
I
I'm
did
sure
not see
some
Tom Cruise, but
pretty big names.
especially the first 4 days of Sundance, that's when everybody's there to celebrate the opening of it. There's some major premieres, there's major events. So you see a lot of familiar faces that you're walking by and you're like, oh my gosh, did I just wow, yeah, that was Seth Rogen, you know?
So one of the things I'm curious about is, what does a day look like when you're at Park City, you're attending Sundance? Is it like a convention? Is it like Comic-Con where there's just stuff lined up all day long that you have like an itinerary and you go hit this or this? Or is it like, you're actually hanging out in town, running into people or whatever? I don't know. I've never been.
So it's kind of weird. So the first thing is they have a Sundance app. And what I really applaud them for is it's a well-constructed app that allows you to track what are the events that are going on, what are the events that you have ticketed or specifically identified that you want to attend. And it also gives you the opportunity where you can pull up your app and it says, hey, you have a massive gap here in your schedule. You could do all these different things.
Oh, that's nice. That is
So
cool.
I thought that was really great. But that's essentially as far as the success of the logistics go. And I
Ooh,
found this to be the biggest surprise to me because this is Sundance, right? The
sure.
creme de la creme of film festivals.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, it seemed very unorganized. And let me
Bummer.
explain by that. I think it's a product of being in Park City. So Park City, Utah's not that big. You know,
Yeah.
the downtown portion of Park City that I think most people are familiar with is essentially two streets, Main and Park. Both of them run about a mile and a half up a mountain.
Yeah. Okay. That's
That's
that's what
where
I've seen. I've seen
right,
those.
that's the picture where you see the Welcome to
Yeah,
Sundance with all the people walking. You know, they shut the street down and
picturesque. Yeah, it looks
yeah,
nice.
that's where everything is in terms of that's where the sponsors take over buildings and do displays, they do giveaways. There's all kinds of little side discussions or special event pop-ups that go on that portion
Okay.
of Park City. The problem is that's not where the screenings are.
Oh, so you gotta
There's one theater on
walk?
that road, and it's the Egyptian, which they did not use this year, which is kind of a surprise. It's a smaller theatrical venue, but that was always the main theater for Sundance. The
Okay.
rest of them are spread out. For example, there's like two that are in hotels, just in like hotel ballrooms that they kind of makeshift into a little bit of a stadium seating.
Okay.
Another one's in the library in like a library, presentation community room. The
Gotcha.
big theater, the main theater, Eccles Theater, is actually at the local high school. And the problem is, from that portion of Park City, each of these theaters is a mile, mile and a half, maybe.
Yeah, it's a lot of walking. And it's
So
probably cold as hell.
it's in the 20 degrees, it's snowing on and off. You have to walk a good mile and a half because let's just face it, Park City's infrastructure is not built for all the traffic that it has. So
Yeah.
even if you call an Uber to try and get your way over to the theater, you're still waiting 25 minutes to catch an Uber, and your Uber's $50 to get you
Ooh,
from one place to the next. While it does have buses that are available, you know, it you have to do the whole bus route. So sometimes you don't always get lucky. So that was a failure. Then the other thing that I didn't understand about Sundance was this. There's a lot of line waiting, D-man. A ton of
yeah.
line waiting.
That does sound
And
like Comic-Con.
so the way it works is this. If you're a filmmaker, you essentially get one of the perks you get if your film is accepted into Sundance is you have the ability to walk into any screening at Sundance you want and watch the film.
Okay.
So not only are the creators of the film there and getting tickets, but other filmmakers who've screened are getting tickets. People who buy the Sundance Institute Pass then have priority to take seats in a screening. Then it's regular ticket buyers and waitlisted ticket buyers. So the problem is you could buy a ticket for a movie, and theoretically, if it was popular enough, you might not even get in to see it.
Oh,
So that creates a sense of urgency where people are lining up an hour and a half early and waiting in a line queue to be the first of the ticket holders or waitlist holders, hoping that they make the movie. And I think that that's kind of probably my biggest criticism. Because again,
yes.
you could buy a ticket to a movie and you don't even get to watch it.
I mean,
And
how
if
how
you do
expensive are
have
the
a ticket,
tickets?
I mean, $40.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot of money, yeah.
And on top of it, you're like, if I have a ticket, I would think that that means I get to, walk in at showtime 5 minutes before and claim the seat that
Yeah,
I
like a
purchased.
movie theater.
That's not
Yeah.
how it works.
Sounds like Spirit Airlines, selling tickets to seats they don't have.
Yeah. Um, so that was kind of a surprise. Now, on top of it, there's tons of panels, there's networking events, there's much like other conventions, there's
It does
breakout
sound a little
sessions you
bit
can
like a
go to.
convention, yeah.
Yeah, where you can go and you can talk to people. But I think one of the pushes for pulling out of Park City and moving to Boulder is the fact that, if there was a Park City Convention Center where most of the Sundance activities could be consolidated in,
Sure.
I think it would probably be easier to
Coordinate
justify
the whole thing.
staying there. Yeah.
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 But they would probably have to build that specifically for Sundance. And if they don't have, a population size that warrants a building like that, then you're like, it basically just gets used once a year, unless
Mm-hmm.
they could like line up other stuff for Park City. But its uniqueness really is like Sundance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that, and I know they're like a huge ski town, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, there is that, but I don't know if you need a convention center for that. You're outside.
Yeah, right. So who knows? That was kind of my, you know, the biggest surprise that I had.
Okay. I mean, I don't know why. The appeal to me seems like I would have a blast walking around downtown, getting a coffee in the morning, maybe grabbing brunch with some people that I met at a film the night before, after going to a screening, maybe hitting the town, getting a couple drinks, overspending on an Uber.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, how far away is like your hotel or wherever you stay?
Well, I stayed in a couple of us. We rented an Airbnb and it was an amazing,
That's cool.
mansion that overlooked the snowy hills. And it was about a mile up the mountains above everything. So, you had to Uber up, but at the same time, it was a great place. We'd all hang out at night and talk about the movies we saw. We'd get up, we'd make some coffee, we'd talk about what we're planning to see. So I really enjoyed that. The other thing is, since Park City is small enough, when you meet someone, you will see them again.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
And so it's fun because I'd be walking around and you run and say, "Oh, hey, I sat next to you in the screening. I just saw this. What did you think about this?" And there is a little bit of the talk of the town in the terms of, there's a lot of films that are premiering during the week. These are their world premieres. And people know them and are looking forward to them. And people are saying, "Hey, did you see Wait? Did you see The Last Living Pickpocket in New York? Like, what did you think about these movies?"
Yeah.
And that's a lot of fun.
And you're with cinephiles. You're with people who love the movies. And it's not just like, going to the local theater and people are there because they wanted to go on a date night or, so
Yes.
they're like, oh, I just went because, I have
So,
a list, so I just went
yeah,
to the movies. You're like,
right?
no, these people are here because
Into
they really
movies.
want to be here.
The other cool thing is every film is there's a little backstory before it where the programmer of Sundance, who's in charge of that portion, or one of those programmers, comes out and says, "Hey, this is what this film is. This is some of the reasons why we selected it. This is who the filmmaker is." So it's interesting getting a little bit of that insight into, what gets a film into Sundance.
Yeah, I wondered what the selection process is because I know when you go to these like prestige film festivals, obviously some of the slots are going to be filled for movies with bigger names. Because part of that is the draw, right? Is there
Hmm.
actually are producers for blockbusters. There's actors that have been in your favorite movies before that are all here, whether it's making an indie film or even they're, trying to get distribution for a film. I wondered what the range of sort of quality was for the filmmakers because, yeah, I assume some of those slots are just reserved.
I mean, and it really is wild. Um, from me, because I'm thinking on one hand, this is Sundance. These should be the greatest movies I've ever seen. And some of them are really, really well made.
Yeah.
Others of them are surprisingly average. And then you get a
Huh.
lot that are just complete crap, in all honesty.
Wow. I mean, I'm shocked. Obviously, I know that's probably the case at almost any film festival you go to. It's just when you get to those top, film festivals, you would think that all the movies would be worthy. But it's weird because you also hear about, things like Megalopolis premiering at a film festival or something, and then the audience is like stunned, and you're like, I mean, that was probably reserved because that's Francis Ford Coppola, and it ends up that it probably wasn't a great movie.
Well, and the other thing too is right, or you hear about these movies that you're like, oh, it got a 40-minute standing ovation at Sundance. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Doesn't matter how good a movie is, I'm not sitting there and clapping for 40 minutes.
I mean, I don't think I would do that for anything, but I would clap.
I mean, I'd clap, but I'm not going to be up for 40 minutes. No way. I always wonder how that happens. But I've heard one of the things that's actually sort of a pay for play thing that sometimes
Oh, they
production companies do, where they
gotcha.
pay people to get up and,
Keep
you know,
clapping.
yeah, right.
Yeah, keep it going. I've started a slow clap before in a movie theater, so I mean, I could also start a long clap.
Yeah,
I could
right.
probably everybody's like, "Shut up." I don't know. I guess clapping's better than booing. So if we
Yeah,
want to give
right.
a shout out to George, I went to a movie where he booed at the end. I mean, at least it's not getting booed. So I don't know. On that note, though, okay. So, we're kind of talking about how you get into Sundance and all that, but how were the actual movies you saw? Like, obviously, it sounds like you saw a wide range of films because you went from some of them were great all the way to complete crap. I'm not saying you got to name the movies specifically, but if there are any that you want to call out, I mean, I'd be interested if they're going to end up maybe on streaming or there's even an opportunity for, you know, a lowly podcast host like me to see them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, let's definitely talk about it. So, some of the movies that I saw, um, I probably should have prepared for this better because I'm gonna be like, oh, with that one guy from that movie. Um,
It's your podcast.
and everyone's like, do you know what you're talking about? Why do you have a podcast, bro? So one of the first movies I wanted to bring up that I saw was a movie called Wait.
Okay.
Um,
So hang on. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
this starred Ethan Hawke, and it was shot in Germany. And the reason why I bring it up is actually because Ivor, you are going to be really psyched to hear this. This movie, the filmmakers during their presentation constantly referenced one of your favorite films, Sorcerer, as their
Mm,
inspiration.
awesome.
And it's kind of a people in the jungle make a discovery, the trouble with transporting things through the jungle and the struggle there. However, it was a good movie. I did not feel the complete suspense that I felt watching Sorcerer. So it was good. It has Ethan Hawke. We know this is going to end up on streaming somewhere.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because I actually did see an interview on social media with Ethan Hawke where he talks a little bit about his experience on Wait. And he also made a sort of off the cuff comment about Tom Cruise ruining acting for actors because apparently he said Tom Cruise doing his own stunts basically raises the bar for all actors to do their own stunts. And he's like, it kind of feels like if you don't, you're screwed.
Right.
So, but I did see he was doing the interview rounds. I was paying attention because I knew you were there, and I was like, I wonder if CP's at this interview or this junket or whatever.
And I was. How
That's
cool is
cool.
that?
Yeah, that's
So,
really cool.
another film I saw was the film Union County. The stars Will Poulter. It's a little bit heavier of a film, so it's not the type of movie that you want to go watch for fun.
Mm.
However, what was interesting about it is it's based on a true story, and it actually kind of did a little bit what was done with the film No Man Land for a couple years ago,
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember
where
No
it
Man.
actually is part documentary, part fiction, because it has real people in the film playing them their real selves based on a experience. So that was kind of an interesting movie to watch.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you don't see a lot of that, I think.
No, no, not at
Not
all.
mainstream. That's why like Nomadland was, I mean, as sort of boundary pushing as it was, it got a lot of notice because just you just don't see that.
So, two of my favorite films that I saw, and I was lucky enough to actually go to the world premiere of both. The first one was the film Chasing Summer, and that's by Josephine Decker and Eliza Schlesinger. And
Okay.
it was a what they said is they wanted to make a millennial nostalgic movie. And it's about a 30 something year old who kind of her life falls apart. She moves back to her hometown and almost experiences her coming of age late in life. Right.
Okay.
And it was, I mean, I loved it. It had this awesome, 2000s soundtrack of all the music that we used to love when we were younger.
Still
And
love.
you know how much I
Yeah.
love coming of age movies. So I had a lot of fun with that.
That's
And
cool.
another one that I really enjoyed was the film The Last Living Pickpocket in New York. Or
And
I'm
I've
sorry, The Only Living Pickpocket in New York. And that stars John Turturro and was directed by Noah Segan.
Yeah, I
And
saw I think some stuff on social media about that one as well.
yeah, and that was just, it was very much kind of invoked the style of the French Connection.
Oh,
Kind of,
okay.
and the filmmaker said, he specifically was seeking out to make a movie about like analog New York, as he described it. So I was immediately intrigued by that, and it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it.
That's cool. I mean, I assume that a couple of the ones you just named, I assume we'll find them on streaming eventually.
Yeah, and I mean the ironic thing was I had a friend who went to a film in the blink of an eye, which is a new sci-fi movie with an incredible cast. I wasn't able to get a ticket. I wanted to. And he said that like as soon as the film wrapped, they're like, "Oh, by the way, this is going to be on Hulu next
Oh,
month."
cool. Nice.
So
Well,
most of
Disney
these
Plus now.
yeah, most of these films are locking up distribution, you know, immediately after their
Yeah.
premieres because people are seeing, audiences enjoy them, they're well made. Um
Streaming services need content.
yeah, exactly.
So that's pretty cool. I mean, I have to ask you a couple questions, a little bit more rapid fire now. But first of all, did you see more movies in Park City than you would with your A-list pass?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So net win,
Yeah.
because you go to the movies a lot.
I go to the movies a lot. What
I
was also
watch a lot of movies, but I don't go to the theater nearly as
no.
much as you do.
I also went to a off Sundance screening where someone said, "Hey, this is the director's cut of our new film that's coming out. It's not finished, but we're doing a screening to get the input of the audience members. It's the action movie 1 Second After that's going to be coming out later this summer, starring Josh Holloway." And they
Oh,
did a
wow.
cut, and afterwards, we gave them feedback. They had a survey and they had us fill out all these things. What worked? What didn't work? What did you think about this? What did you think about this? So that was kind of cool. And a lot of times production companies will doing that knowing that there's cinephiles in
Yeah,
attendance at Sundance and they want you to come by and check out their screening and they take care of you. They give you food and popcorn and drinks and you watch a movie and give us some notes. So that was a fun experience.
that's cool. Josh Holloway from, is that Lost?
Yes,
Sawyer?
sir.
Oh,
Yes,
nice
sir.
hair. He has great hair.
Also went and saw some documentaries, some great, some terrible, and unfortunately did do the shorts block, which was the biggest mistake of my life. So I'm sorry, you got more questions, so hit me.
Well, I was gonna say, were there any, because you're talking about mostly features here, but it is a film festival. Are there any short films? From more, I guess you'd call it like, not amateur, but like maybe not established filmmakers.
Well, there were, and there are short films from established filmmakers and amateur filmmakers. And I've heard different things about different blocks. Obviously, they say, oh, these are, nonfiction, these are or non-narrative and narrative short blocks and things like that. My problem is I went there and I was really shocked at the quality of some of the films
Yeah.
because there are, again, you attend other events by partner institutes that are partnering with Sundance, and they're showing films that people developed in their programs at Sundance related events. And the quality of those films were incredible. And the official selection of short films at Sundance was so um, lacking
Not
in a
not
lot of
impressive.
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that, the programmers came out and they said, hey, we have 12,000 films submitted in a year. We go through and try and identify films that are different, that aren't going to be accepted into other film festivals,
Okay, that's kind of a
which
cool.
I
Yeah.
understand they're looking for specific qualities, but sometimes I felt like identifying that one quality maybe came at the, I don't know, the
Expensive a good
absence of a
story.
story.
Yeah, expensive, yeah.
Or sometimes those filmmakers who are doing something original, but the quality of the work is just very amateur.
Hmm. Okay. That's kind of cool. Okay, I got a couple more questions for you.
Go.
So, what was the food like? I mean, I'm hoping that you're gonna say you didn't eat any fast food because I mean, I would hate to go somewhere else and then get like, I don't know, McDonald's.
I mean, going to
Or unless they had Steak and Shake.
no, I didn't see any fast food. I didn't go anywhere like that. Um, Park City has a lot of it's actually the cuisine is very diverse. One night we went to a steakhouse and got elk steaks.
Whoa,
Never
never had
never done that
elk.
before.
Yeah,
They had a couple of cool kind of New York style pizza places. They do
nice.
have Mexican food, but I don't trust it because it's so far from Mexico.
Sure.
And on top of it, there's a lot of really cool breweries. There's some great bars. We went to this restaurant that was tied to a whiskey distillery that was in Park City. It's
Whoa.
called the Nelson House. And one night they gave us a specialty menu where they crafted it directly with a whiskey pairing. So there's some great food. And as I said, there's a lot of really cool events, like at the Adobe house, like Adobe, you could come by and they gave you food and drinks and talk to you about the new Adobe software.
I
So
would do that. Yeah.
you can go and get, there's lots of food and beverage options around Park City.
That's cool. I mean, that's what I was hoping for was that like, I mean, it'd be a unique experience, unlike something you would get, in Boulder. So that's kind of cool. And then also, I wanted to ask you, would Ivor have a good time?
Well, Ivor would have a great time because Ivor loves movies.
Yeah, I think he would have fun. I mean, I think I would have fun with Ivor because I would go watch a movie and
I
then go to
mean,
that
D-Man, you would
distillery.
have fun though. You enjoy movies and you enjoy talking about movies and you love meeting people in
Oh yeah,
bars and restaurants and talking about movies. So, yeah, if you like movies, you will enjoy Sundance.
that's awesome. Well, and it doesn't hurt when you stay in a mansion.
And there was
So
a great, underlying tribute to Robert Redford everywhere. That was really fun. Obviously, this was the first
sure,
Sundance
yeah,
since he passed.
right.
But yeah,
Now the question is, would you be excited to go to Boulder?
I
Or
mean, it will be interesting, and in some ways, it might be cooler because new traditions are going to be established at
yeah,
Sundance, and the places where things have been going on for 40 years. That's just not the way it works now, right? They're going to have to find new venues and new traditions, and it will be fun to be a part of building that. It's probably a little easier to get around Boulder as well, just because it's a bigger city. I'm assuming they're going to partner with CU and maybe some of those venues will be used for screenings, so there might be more space and they might be more accessible.
okay.
So there is some good, but it comes at it comes with change.
Well, it does sound fun. I mean, I'm jealous that you got to go. I mean, it would have been fun to do together. We could have podcasted from there,
We
but
probably could have.
that would have been dope. I mean, maybe I should have just gone just to hang out. Like I didn't get invited, but I'm just here randomly.
Well, and I actually feel like there were people who did that, who came not getting tickets, not getting official passes to official Sundance events. But, there were other, as I said, other organizations, other partner institutes doing things with Sundance. There were networking events and things like that. So I think there are people who just went to do those. And I think there were people who just hung out and walked around and mingled and met people. So
Yeah.
I guess it
Yeah,
just
maybe
depends.
could be me.
Yeah.
Hey, that's fun. All right, final question. Just little fun here, but let's say you walk in to the bathroom at a premiere. There's five stalls, and all the way to the left stall is like Seth Rogen or something. Are you taking the stall right next to him? Are you breaking etiquette? It's a star.
No,
Hey Seth, how's it going?
you don't break etiquette.
Oh man.
Rules are not meant to be broken in
No
those
networking in the
situations.
bathroom. That's
No
the
way.
first
No
first
way.
rule of Sundance. Oh man. All right. Well, did you have any final thoughts? Did you want to leave our listeners with anything special about the experience?
I mean, I was just thrilled. This was obviously a dream come true. Always wanted to go. It was great to be a part of it. It was a great experience to be attending, watching movies with people who worked really hard to make some stories. And it was also great because I got to meet some directors and producers and hear directors and producers who I really respect their work and what they've done for cinema, and they're going to go on to do other great things for cinema. And it was cool to just be a part of that.
Nice. And any final shout outs? I mean, I'm sure you're like, hey, Kenny from the premiere.
Hey, Kenny from the premiere.
Ah, all right. Well, that does it actually for our conversation this week. I know this episode's a little bit shorter than usual, but because you got a chance to do something really special, we thought we would dedicate this episode to your experience. So I'm glad you had fun. Like I said, I'm pretty jealous that I was just here working,
Yeah.
um, living life, but to the movies and Sundance. That's awesome. To our listeners, be sure to continue the conversation. If you have any questions for CP, be sure to forward them to us. I'm sure he can probably try to answer any of them. And if he can't, then that's when you all turn on him.
Yes,
So,
exactly. Thanks.
thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show. You can follow the podcast at Film Comp Pod or at Film Comp Podcast on Instagram and at filmmakerscompass.com, where we have a feed of all of our previous episodes and all of our links and everything. You could follow me at Big Kid D-Man and CP.
You can follow me at NDCal5. Thank you for hanging out and just listen to us talk about surviving Sundance. Hopefully, you will all get the chance to go next year. But until then, we'll see you back here next week and keep watching movies.
And I want to end it on this. CP is officially now the Sundance Kid.